A very good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you so much, and welcome to another episode here on the Life Signatures Radio, which is a daily show on the subjects of purpose, productivity, and resilience. And on this show, on a daily basis, we talk about very many things that are surrounding those three topics, those three major topics. For the most part, we deploy this using a series of messages. I love to go into series because we can be able to dwell onto a particular message for a season of time until it's embedded. So if you're a listener of Life Signatures, you know this, that this is a teaching podcast. We teach on those things of purpose, productivity, and resilience. It's like a virtual incubator for us for purpose. And we cannot do that by just hitting and running, but we can do this by staying put on a particular message. And this message this season is about street smartness. What's the difference between being street smart and being book smart? And how can we, starting today, how can we teach our children to be street smart? How can we raise street smart children? Book smartness is not necessarily something that I need to talk about. We're already doing that, all right? So street smartness it is. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
In the previous episodes, maybe 6 or so episodes, we've been talking about this, and we started by introducing what street smartness is all about, and then we went into selecting. Do you have, or do you think you can select between street smart if you're given an opportunity? Select between street smart and book smart, just given two choices. You want your child to be either street smart or to be book smart. Which one are you going to choose? And I told you I would, without battling an eyelid, select for them to be street smart. You know why? Because I've gone through book smart and I know what book smart is all about, but I know also what street smart is all about. Don't make a mistake and think street smart is just about hustling without books. A book smart person is someone who reads, and they read to apply. They don't read to pass an examination. Let me stop there and continue. So we're going to start today talking about the 8 pillars in raising street smart children. Let us talk about one of it today. Maybe you can talk about it tomorrow, but before I can talk about how we can exactly do that, let me just give a little bit of deliberation and a little bit of background. We've heard about people being raised with kid gloves or born with a silver platter, to make reference to those kids who are born in a privileged environment. And I must admit that privilege has a great part. It's not something that we should frown on. It has a very great part in giving some people a head start in life. It has a very good place. In fact, I would rather that parents will give their children head starts than children trying to grapple and wasting a lot of precious time trying to find out their bearings in life. I must admit that privilege has a great part to play in a child to make it in this life. However, it is not as guaranteed as if a child being street smart is just going to happen because they were given a head start. Let me just say that. It is not a guarantee that a child will become street smart because the child has been given a head start. It is not a guarantee at all. There are some things that must be actively done. We've watched very many movies. There's a movie I think I've watched, I've forgotten the title of the movie. A child is born in this privileged environment and so on, and the dad wants to bequeath the estate to the kid, but the kid has been given so much privilege, they are entitled. The dad gives this kid a test and tells him, go and make this X amount of money and bring it. The mother hears this and she goes and she withdraws the child's account and she gives the child the money, and the child presents it to the dad. The dad takes the money and throws it in the fire, and the fire burns it, and the child does absolutely nothing. And then the father tells him, the moment you will work for the money, you will realize how important it is. I cannot accept this. Go and work for the money. Finally, the message gets home to the kid, and he goes and he toils and he makes his own money. He comes and presents the money to the father, and the father does the same ritual, throws it into the fire, but this time around something has changed. The kid jumps after the money and says, this is my money. I worked for this. Don't you dare throw away my money. Then that's where the father knew this one is ready. The kid was given a test of being street smart, and he passed. If you asked, to select between being privileged children and being street smart children, what are you going to select? That your children should be privileged on one end, or it's just either or they should be street smart on the other. At what choice will you make? I've already made my choice, you guys. I have said I would rather they be street smart than be privileged. Why? Because in raising a street smart child, you cannot negate the participation of the child. You cannot negate the equipping of the child. Being privileged is easy. Being privileged means that the child necessarily doesn't participate. They don't know where the bacon is coming from. They're eating the bacon every single morning. Right? They're eating the eggs and the bacons and the sausages every single morning. Right? They're taken to adventure parks and they're taken to holidays, and nothing wrong with those things. Absolutely nothing wrong with those. I'm not fighting against that. Taken into helicopter rides and taken into swimming classes, taken into ballet classes. That is good. That is good. But the question is, are they street smart? As much as they are privileged, are they street smart? You see, street smartness is not necessarily about the guys who are poor and they've got to scrap around. It is for all of us. We've got to be street smart. I would rather select my kids to be street smart than to be privileged, because I know in raising them to be street smart, they are participating in it and they will become privileged by themselves. And actually, they are going to thank me. Yeah. And the flip side is also true. You raise a privileged child who is not street smart, I don't think they're going to thank you later. If things go south, they're going to look back and say, why didn't you discipline me? Why didn't you show me the straight and the narrow? Why didn't you compel me? Now look what's happening. So that's it in raising street smart kids. And maybe I might not even talk about the first point today, how we can be able to do it today. I'm going to deliberate on this for a while before we can go in and start giving you the points exactly how this is going to be. I am not against privilege. In fact, nearly every parent they will want to raise their kid with privilege. They will want to say, I do not want my child to go through the pain that I went through, which has its place. It has its place. If your father was not able to pay school fees for you and you're being chased, embarrassed by the fact that you are poor in school, you go to school with tattered clothes, tattered uniforms, then you should not visit your kid on the same thing. Should be better. Should be driving and dropping them to school. That is privilege for them. But don't negate on privilege adding street smartness to them. There's a guy in Uganda called Fajil Monday. Sometimes in holidays, the parents, they take their kids to him to train them. Do you know what he does? He trains them to be street smart. He tells the parents, don't drop the kids. Give them bus fare. Let them get into a taxi. A taxi is public means in Uganda. Let them get into a matatu. Let me call it that way. Let them get into a matatu and go to the matatu stage, go to the taxi stage, and go to the bus station and transport themselves here. That is being street smart, teaching someone an element of being street smart, not just to be privileged. I'm not against being privileged. Every parent out there will want to raise their children on the premise of giving them privileges. We do this because we have made a vow and we've said, I don't want my kids to go the way I went. We also do this because we think that we're showing them love. We're showing them, that we care when we accede to every request that they make. Dad, can you buy sausages tomorrow? Dad, come with sausages tomorrow. Thank you. I'm like, shut up. I'm not coming with sausages. You're supposed to eat healthy. That's what Dr. Kasenene said. Eat healthy. Anyway, let me come back here. I must say this, ladies and gentlemen, that privilege is disempowering if it is not infused with a street smartness. To be honest, it is disempowering. It is creating impotence in children. It is creating dependency. It is forever postponing maturity. They do not have personal power when you just keep giving them privilege upon privilege upon privilege. It is important to provide the basic needs of your children. That's okay. But don't go overboard trying to compensate. Don't go overboard. I am just going to stop there. Because we see crazy things parents do. A parent is like a maid to a child. Bring you food in your bed and clean your bed and clean your pants, and that's stupidity. Okay, I told you I'm going to stop there. Tomorrow we're going to continue talking about these deliberations on how we can raise street smart children. I've not even started giving you the points, but I'm just deliberating. But tomorrow we'll start doing that. Until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.